Today, a fearless journalist took center stage, calling out the American ambassador on allegations of bigotry and hypocrisy. From threats to the International Criminal Court to dodging questions about justice and fairness, this heated exchange left no stone unturned. Stay tuned as we break down how this bold confrontation unfolded and what it means for global accountability. In this pointed exchange, a journalist fearlessly confronted the U.S. ambassador about America's stance towards the International Criminal Court, ICC, following its decision to issue arrest warrants against Israeli leaders over alleged war crimes in Gaza. The journalist highlighted accusations that the U.S. is undermining global justice by threatening punitive actions against the court, such as economic sanctions. Judge Tomoko Akan, the Japanese president of the ICC, likened these threats to the treatment of a terrorist organization, signaling the gravity of such measures. The U.S. ambassador sidestepped direct answers, reiterating America's disagreement with the ICC's case against Israel and avoiding a clear stance on whether sanctions are justified. Despite being repeatedly pressed, the ambassador refrained from addressing the criticism of the U.S.'s actions by its allies or its potential damage to international law and cooperation. The journalist's sharp questioning underscored the tension between the U.S. and the ICC and questioned the credibility of America's commitment to global justice systems. On a related note, the ambassador briefly touched on the situation in Lebanon, emphasizing efforts to uphold a fragile ceasefire between Hezbollah and Israel. However, the focus remained on America's controversial stance toward the ICC, exposing a stark divide in international views on justice and accountability.
Ambassador, the United States has threatened punitive measures against the International Criminal Court over its independent decision, both by the prosecutor and confirmed by the pretrial chamber, to issue arrest warrants against Israeli leadership over the conduct of the war against Hamas in Gaza. Some accusing the United States of undermining global justice efforts and that it has the potential, U.S. action has the potential to damage not only the court, but the conduct and the implementation of international law. The Japanese president of the court, Judge Tomoko Akane, said the court is being threatened by draconian economic sanctions by a permanent member of the Security Council as if it were a terrorist organization. How does the United States respond to this very specific criticism from allies of your own country?
I can't respond to this other than to say that we have worked with the court in the past, but we do believe that this particular case against the Israelis is not justified.
And does that warrant sanctions? Does that warrant punitive measures? Disagreeing with other institutions, allies? I mean, there have been specific countries named by certain Republican senators, including Canada, France, the United Kingdom. 124 member nations are members and party to the ICC.
And we're not a party to the ICC, as you know, but I'm not going to comment on the comments that have been made about the ICC by
sanctions.
Others.
Is the threat of sanctions appropriate?
Not going to comment.
Pam?
How the U.S. administration is approaching the recent violation of the ceasefire between Hezbollah and Israel? Thank you.
The situation in Lebanon, we're moving forward. There has been an agreement. There have been some hiccups, but the agreement is still standing, and we're looking forward to monitoring the situation on the ground to ensure that the situation continues, the ceasefire continues to be honored.
Come on. Thank you, Chairman Risch, and Ranking Member Menendez, and distinguished members of this committee. I'd like to offer special gratitude to Senator Cassidy, who has left us from my home state of Louisiana, and Senator Coons for their generous introductions. I'm deeply honored to appear before you all as President Biden's nominee to serve as U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. And I'm so grateful to the President for placing his trust in me. My husband, Lafayette Greenfield, a retired Foreign Service specialist, is here with me today, along with my son, Lafayette, who you've heard we call Deuce. Our daughter, Lindsay, is serving our country currently in La Paz, Bolivia. I'm so proud of them all and so grateful for their love and their support and sacrifice as I take on this important position. I would also like to thank my extended family, and that includes all of the members of the Department of State who have been sending me so many kind messages of support. When I joined the Foreign Service in 1982, I was not the norm. Many of my colleagues had gone to Ivy League schools, and I'd gone to segregated high schools, as you've already heard, and to LSU as a consequence of a lawsuit. Not to mention, I was joining an organization facing 2 class action lawsuits that applied to me, one led by Black officers in the Foreign Service and the other by women. And yet, I had an extraordinary 35-year career that culminated as the Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs. To me, that represents the progress and the promise of America. Still, I never expected that I would have the chance to step into the shoes of so many luminaries, leaders like Jeane Kirkpatrick, who was the permanent representative when I first joined the service, or my own mentor, Ambassador Ed Perkins, the first African-American ambassador to South Africa, a UN ambassador, and a giant among diplomats. Or the iconic Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, followed most recently by 4 other women, Ambassadors Susan Rice, Samantha Powers, Nikki Haley, and Kelly Craft, my most recent predecessor. Like my mentors, role models, and predecessors, I strongly believe diplomacy is an irreplaceable tool in the work of advancing America's interests and building a better world. Throughout my career, from Jamaica to Nigeria, Pakistan to Switzerland, and as ambassador to Liberia, I've learned that effective diplomacy means more than shaking hands and staging photo ops. It means developing real, robust relationships. It means finding common ground and managing points of differentiation. It means doing genuine, old-fashioned, people-to-people diplomacy. President Biden epitomizes that approach. He believes in considering every diplomatic tool in the toolkit, including bringing stronger language and tougher tactics to the table when needed. You can be assured that will—
Let us know in the comments section what you think about all that was said. That wraps up the video for today, guys. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to Insight TV, leave a thumbs up, and of course share the video. Until the next time, see you in the next video.